So thanks for joining us. We will start just now a new session on the execution stage. So please join us. We will discuss about how to ensure a seamless outdoor and indoor tracking of your asset everywhere. And for that discussion, I will be joined by François Fortun from HERE Technologies and by Benjamin Mazet from Sigfox. So please join me on that discussion. So first, I mean, just ask both of you to introduce yourself a little bit more about who you are and for which company you work for. So maybe we can start with Benjamin.
Yeah, okay, so I'm Benjamin Mazet. I'm the head of the product management in Sigfox, so responsible of all the product and services that we are developing, from the base stations to the different value-added services that we provide on top of the connectivity, and the location service is one of these services.
François Fortun, so coming from HERE Technologies, and I'm in charge of the South Europe sales region, and I will be introducing here in the next slide.
Great, thank you guys. So I think now we'll just start with a short presentation that François will kick off about HERE and Sigfox.
Yeah, so just to give you some introduction about HERE Technology, because the brand may not be so known. So we are actually coming from the map business, which is still a significant portion of our business today, meaning we have 200 countries which are currently mapped. We are today equipping about 4 vehicles out of 5 in the navigation systems, meaning that we have about 100 million of cars today which are running with our product. We are in this business for over 30 years, and we are now just above 9,000 customers. And we are actually working now on the next challenge, which is what we call high-definition maps, with a target to actually enable autonomous driving. So this has been a long journey for the company in those 30 years. I think what is important for you guys to understand is that we're starting the journey under another brand, which was called Navteq, that some of you may remember from the old time. Since we have actually been purchased, and our shareholders now are Audi, BMW, Daimler, Intel, Continental, and Bosch. And as I mentioned, we started from selling maps, but we are actually moving very quickly into what we call location data and location intelligence. So we are now offering a purely platform-based solution available through API, and we have the belief that actually location is an important topic for many of the customers, and that's the reason why we are heavily investing in that.
Okay, so the first, I would say, common approach that we have with HERE was to use the Wi-Fi positioning in the IoT. And so we launched what we call Atlas Wi-Fi, that is, Atlas Wi-Fi, that is a service that benefits from 2 location services. The one is what we call the network location, so based on our metadata that we are generating in our network, so allowing to define the location of a device without any impact on the device itself, and the Wi-Fi positioning. So the combination of the two give, in any case, even if we talk about indoor, outdoor, if we talk about dense area, remote areas covered by Sigfox, we are able to provide location information, so with a coordinate and an accuracy on each messages generated by a device. So the interest of this service is first, thanks to the Wi-Fi technology, we can have an accuracy between 50 to 200 meters. That is quite accurate. Thanks to HERE and also the 0G network of Sigfox, we have a global footprint for this for this service, meaning that we are able to make it available wherever you are on the earth, I could say. And the last point is this service is really cost efficient in the sense that the integration of the Wi-Fi on the device has a limited cost. Because we are using the Wi-Fi infrastructure that is public, there is no infrastructure to install to benefit from this service. And so it makes the total cost of ownership of this solution very, very attractive. So the first, I would say, concrete example, usage of this service. So our first customer was PSA, Peugeot Citroën, so an automaker in Europe that is using this technology to, I would say, optimize the flow of automotive part packaging between different sites. And for DHL, so it's exactly the same thing, but we are talking here about roller cages that are used between the different center of DHL to optimize the usage of this kind of, I would say, asset. And the last use case that is totally, I would say, under the logistic is with so the Olympics that happened in Abu Dhabi in March 2019, where we were in charge to follow up the athletes and to check their safety, to be sure that at any moment, because we are talking about disabled athletes, we are able to locate them and not to suffer from any loss of those people, to bring them, I would say, assistance. So clearly, we have in this partnership with HERE really the interest of the global reach that we have on our 0G network to provide this service to any kind of customers.
So as you mentioned, Benjamin, the key element really of this technology is all about the local coverage. We have today this database that is available across the 200 countries. This is something which is running for us since 10 years. And at this moment in time, we are actually having a database which is over 2 billion hotspots which are included, and which is updated daily through 250 million of devices that are sending to the database every day 800 million of information for actually either confirming that those spots are still valid or adding some of those new. So that's really an enormous database that is growing by about 100 million of additional one every month, and that we keep on growing for actually improving the quality of service. This map is actually giving you a quick snapshot of what is the coverage that we have today in terms of density. And the way you should look at it is this is actually color-coded, red being obviously the largest traffic. So this represents 10% of the 800 million daily updates that we are receiving. So as you can see, Europe is pretty well covered. Asia is also quite well covered. North America is okay. There's still some area to improve, and we're working on that. But already we have a coverage which I think is already providing what you're looking for most of the areas. Now, I really want to go beyond just Wi-Fi positioning, because actually Wi-Fi positioning as Atlas Wi-Fi service is returning to you as a customer just a latitude and a longitude. And latitude, longitude is definitely something interesting for locating objects, but it's actually what I say the beginning of the journey, because this is raw data that you want to use for different use cases and obviously with higher value in order to offer to your customer a better return on investment. So by talking to customers, we saw that there is actually a huge interest to offer and come up with a solution with a platform tracking. And that's what we have been working on for quite some time now. And when we identify what are the challenges that the transport and logistic industry is actually facing, we saw a couple. One of them is that there are a lot of data, but actually they are inaccurate or unreliable. They are siloed, which means that it is then very difficult to actually predict the estimated time of arrival. And at the end of the day, it is a complete lack of visibility end-to-end in this supply chain, which is really a big problem for many of the players in this area. So what we have developed is actually an horizontal platform that is out of the box offering already 80% of a full end-to-end tracking solution. What is missing and what has to be customized and developed is actually what is specific to the business of your customer or to your business. The other key benefit of this platform is that this is actually a seamless platform offering indoor and outdoor. And then the other piece is that because we are leveraging the low power location benefit of Wi-Fi, this is also allowing tracker manufacturers to actually decrease significantly the power consumption, hence the size and the cost of the batteries. So from a TCO standpoint, this is also pretty interesting. And just to see it live, I would actually encourage you either to come to our booth over there or to actually go to Unabis, who is the local Sigfox operator, where they are currently running this platform through a live POC, POV, which is currently running on Changi Airport for actually tracking some of their assets. So again, we are really doing far more than just Wi-Fi positioning, and everything that is related to location is something we can help you with. So come and talk to us, and we'll be happy to give you more details about your pain points and how we can really bring value to your business.
So we can find a lot of solutions who may cover similar needs. What do you think HERE technology is very unique? What is a unique value proposition?
What really we bring in this business is the coverage that we offer, which at the end of the day is actually driving the response time. Whenever you are sending a message asking for a position, you want to make sure that over 9 times out of 10, you are actually getting a response and not, I don't know. And second point, as Benjamin mentioned, is also the accuracy. The more info you have in your database, the more computation you can do, and the more accurate the answer will be. And again, back to this demo, indoor, we can clearly locate objects or people today with less than 10 meters accuracy, which in most of the cases is far enough.
So during the presentation, you talk a lot about the Wi-Fi and HERE, that the solution you're offering. What are the other solutions that you're also offering to your customers? Because you mentioned you have a lot of different things you can provide to them.
Yeah, so as I mentioned, latitude, longitude is just one point. The first thing you probably want to do with latitude, longitude is convert that into a physical address. One boulevard, whatever that is, in front of the building, which is something that talks probably better to you than just the latitude and longitude. And then if you have the location, then probably you want to do something with the location. You want to know what is around because you are looking for something specifically, point of interest. You want to go from here to the airport because you want to have your goods actually transported to the airport. And depending if this is going through a motorcycle, depending if this is going through a van or if it's going through a heavy truck, you want to make sure he's going to the airport in the most efficient way and also predict when he will have to leave in order to make sure he will actually catch the flight and not miss it. And these are some examples of additional service that are actually important for customers.
And this is clear that for Sigfox, all those additional services was very, very interesting because we can really put on top of simply a location, a business information, an additional information that could be used by the customer in order to optimize their flow. Of course, to find lost asset, because most of the time in many businesses, it starts from that, the fact that we lost assets and we want to know where they are. So having this capability to not only have a simple location, but an address, an history, a flow is really powerful for our customers.
So we talk a little bit today about PSA, not the port of Singapore, but about the automaker in France, and few other cases, right? Can we go a little bit deeper on one of these cases in terms of application?
Okay, so if we take PSA, because I think it's an interesting case. So for PSA, we talk about automotive parts packaging. So we talk about assets that are used during the production flow, so where there is a huge pressure in terms of usage. And the complexity of this use case is the fact that those packaging are mixed between sites from PSA, from the automakers, but also from plenty of suppliers. So there is here a strong interest of PSA to optimize the flow between those different sites. And so that is why they selected Sigfox for two reasons. First, the indoor approach and the accuracy that we have thanks to the Wi-Fi. And secondly, the fact that we have no infrastructure to install. We can rely on an existing infrastructure. The Wi-Fi is public, so they don't need to install anything in their supplier site, and they can directly benefit from the location. If we take DHL, I would say that the use case is approximately the same. We are talking about roller cages that are used in those different sites. But in DHL, one constraint was really the low power because they have a high constraint on the battery, on the life duration of the device. And so clearly at the beginning, they start with the GPS that was not suitable for the indoor, and in the same time with a large battery consumption. So they come back to Sigfox to have first an optimized solution in terms of indoor, and after a less consuming solution with the low power.
Let me just maybe clarify one element, because you're talking about the public Wi-Fi network. I just want to make sure that everyone understands that this is actually the entire Wi-Fi hotspots that are available. And the reason being that actually through this technology, we are not connecting to the Wi-Fi. So by definition, all potential concerns about security, hacking, and all those kind of things, which are very sensitive to IT managers into the factories, are solved because we are just sniffing the Wi-Fi hotspot, and that's about it.
And this is one reason of the low consumption of battery, because there is no connection, I would say, to the Wi-Fi. It's pure looking at around and find the different hotspots.
Great. So on that, we will conclude the discussion now. As you know, you can find Unabis just behind here. You can find HERE Technology just that way, right? To talk to François, and of course, Benjamin will be around. So please just thanks the panelists with me, and feel free to approach them during the day to ask them questions. Thank you.